Hey guys, Anthony, 4x4 diesel. Little bit of, I'm not sure whether this should go on 4x4 diesel or 4x4 adventures actually. It's kind of a bit of touring information, but it's mechanical maintenance type thing as well. Little bit about air filters and cabin filters. We have this vehicle in for a service. It's an 09, I think it's done about 150,000 Ks. So a bit of a service. We've already done the BFE. You can see we did that early. You can see, check out the dates if you like, right? It's now end of the year. Jeez, time's gone by, isn't it? 7th, that was July, August, September, October, November, December, wow. Anyway, there you go. The BFE was done early with some other more major works. And I didn't do this electrical, okay? This could need to go for a visit to our auto electrical extraordinaire. Anyway, not the worst I've seen. I'm not saying it's dangerous because this has got all the excellent corrugated split tubing, but there's kind of like, you know, I don't mind this kind of setup. There's kind of like a lot going on there. Same here, that's kind of a bit too messy for me, but look, someone's increased the corrugated split tubing since I saw it last, I believe. That's much better because see, I reckon that would have been rubbing through there and these ones, so that's the good part. It's not too bad, it's getting better. That's good. I like those insulating covers there where possible, you know that. Anyway, back to what we're talking about here. Let's have a look. So you come off-road, dirt road, off-road trip, dirt and dust, a day in the dirt and dust, your air filter could end up looking like that. And I've got to tell you, unless you sit well back out of the dust, this is what's going to happen. It's going to cost you an air filter every day trip. So you might want to consider some washable air filters. That's what I use. And then you got to be careful who you let put the filter in, because here you can see this is the dirty side. You can see all the dust along the side. You can see the seal, this one even there, it's a bit folded underneath there. Right, this is another reason why it's good to put the grease on there, because it helps everything slip into place. You can see this side, it just looks like the seal completely was not sitting in place. Right, we didn't put this in, whatever the case may be. We haven't serviced the vehicle yet. Okay, and you can see through, this is the clean side, right? And we've probably touched it a bit, made it a bit dirty, but not looking too good at where this seal was sitting, is it, right? And this is how tough these engines are, right? Bit of dust can get through and they're still going good, right? You can see there's dust there. I'm going to just do that so you can see, right? Definitely dust on the clean side. And the filter's that pack that you can see the dust almost starting to come through. The engine will pull the air it needs. It will get the air one way or the other, right? So let's have a look. And there's the cabin filter. You're going to see the same thing. If the cabin filter is really clean and good condition, you can often just blow the dust off it. These are those flimsy types that they do tear up a bit more easily, and they're a bit harder to hold firm while you blow them or whatever. So what we use, some people don't like them, but those it's like a Repco brand or Fuel Miser or Westfield. You know, they're a firmer element. They seem to flow just fine, but they're much easier to clean, as in blow. If it's just dust, to blow the dust out, they clean up really well. So we're going to install one of those into here. I think they seal up better too. You can see these, they're just a flat piece of, there's not much at the edge there, see that? To actually seal it, so some dust is going to get past. So that's kind of just sitting there, if you know what I mean. It's like, you know, not a really great seal. Where the other ones, they've got a bit of foam down at least two sides, and look, I think they seal better anyway. I want mine sealed. But what's the scary part for a lot of people? Let's take a look in here. Look, you can see obviously the bottom's going to be dusty and dirty and all that, depending. So this has got a snorkel on it, right? But it's going to be a bit dusty and dirty in there, but that could be a lot cleaner. I reckon if we looked at our 120, it'd be cleaner than that. But look underneath, right? You can see an amount of dust. You can see through to the MAF sensor, which needs cleaning whenever you change or maintain your air filter. You need to clean that also with the correct product, not with brake cleaner, not with carby cleaner, not with degreaser, with MAF sensor cleaner, right? So you can have a look under here. There's been a fair bit of dust. So is it a dusted engine? Right, let's get our finger and sort of just draw some pictures here and just, you know, right, you can see how much dust is there. Right, it's not too bad. It's generally only the fine stuff, but I wouldn't say it's good either. Right, it's not what you want. You wouldn't want to be doing this long term. So what are we going to do? We're going to clean all that up. We're going to put a new genuine paper filter in there because that's all that we keep in stock. We're going to put grease on the seal here, and that will stay a heap cleaner than it did this time because it's going to have the seal fitted correctly around the edges because it's going to slip in nicely with the grease. Genuine fitment. And the snorkel's on there, the head's facing backwards, and we're just going to recommend to the client that he stays a bit further back out of the dust, just further back. You know, I mean, you've got this problem when you're at full driving, sometimes you want to be behind the vehicle in front of you to see what line they took, you know, because in case you get to these bits that are a little bit harder, but by doing so, it's going to cost you an air filter every trip. You know, the amount of dust it can get in a day, it's more than the 30,000k interval, which is why air filters, you know, it's got a little asterisk, you know, depending on, you know, what do they call it? Not extreme use, what's the word they use? Harsh conditions. Harsh conditions. This is harsh conditions, air filter in a day. So beware of that. I'm just looking at that. Does that even look like a bit of water? See the way that, like a clump of muddy stuff there? Bit of wetness? I don't know. There's even rocks in there. And bugs. Which leads me to believe that maybe they've even smashed the pre-spinner out of the thing. I don't know. Let's get down and have a look, see if this works. I'll have to look on the video later. What's in there? I can't see what I'm shooting at. So I'm going to trust that we saw something in that. I didn't actually see it. I'll check the video in a minute. Because generally, that will separate a lot of this stuff. And I suppose that's a good thing about the genuine filters. They've got that pre-filter over them, and excuse me a sec. All this dust is getting up my nose. You can see all this. The big stuff's not what blocks the filter. The fine stuff's what blocks it, but it stops all this big stuff. Like all these rocks and bugs, they wouldn't be there. They'd be down the bottom of the airbox. But you can even see in between. So this is cactus. These are getting replaced. We'll clean it up, and you look. In our 120, I run a K&N filter. I'm not saying they're the best or the worst or the this, that, but we've done so on and off for decades in our Prados, and other people we know do the same. Personally, I oil it heavily. Never had any issues with a bit of dust on the MAF sensor. Sorry, a bit of oil on the MAF sensor. Never had any issues. The dust doesn't get to the MAF sensor like this one has, so it shows that actually works better. Heavily oiled, it works better than what this does. And once they get blocked like this, the engine still breathes. So I'm not recommending it for heavy duty off-road use, but we do push the limits a bit with ours, and I don't see an issue. We've had the K&N caked 5 to 10 mil thick with garbage from a 2-week trip in Tassie, and the thing still breathed, but it was the most amazing filthy K&N filter. I think I've lost the photo. It's many years ago, about 10 years ago now. I've posted it a number of places, so if you don't want to miss stuff, subscribe, turn the bell on. Hit the like button if you're learning something out of this. Okay, so these are the new filters we're going to be using. As I said, the genuine Toyota filter. Oh, you wanted the part number? Whatever, you know. 17801308080. Right, it's got this pre-filter on it, so it helps a lot of the stuff not get jammed into the element. It does work well, I like it. But they're still going to get blocked up because the dust is dust. The seal, it's going to be very similar, probably a little bit better, the genuine one. And with the grease, it helps it all slip into place, and the grease helps to seal it up. Because as I said, once it becomes blocked, it's going to get the air one way or another, and you're probably rather it pulling through the element and working to do that than pulling it straight past the seal with no filtration. Unless there's grease there, because the dirt will get stuck to the grease generally. Okay, cabin filter. See what I mean? These are a lot more, they're just firmer, they're a lot more easier to work with. So, I'm not saying they're better, I actually like that thin element, it probably flows better of the genuine type. But the genuine ones are like 60 bucks or something. These are like 10 or 15 bucks each if you buy them in bulk at the right price. Get something online, check eBay, all that sort of thing. Right, but see there's the foam strip down the side, at each side. That fits really well. Now, I'm not sure why they don't do that and have a box and do it all 4 sides, but these fit in pretty tightly at each end as well. These are a lot more sturdy, so they're actually washable as well. So blowing it, you won't have much luck, but we've got a video washing air filters. I'm not sure what channel it's on. It was a bit of a joke. We're having a bit of a laugh. We haven't watched any filters since then. It's more of a trying to show people, because these things, you know, why, you know, let's save some waste in the world. And, you know, if you can, spend 5 or 10 minutes when you've got nothing better to do and wash them out and stack them up, save them up, whatever. You might have 2 or 3 or 4 on the go, and just reuse it, because it's just going to get covered in dust again next time, you know. It seems to be a waste throwing it in the bin. But yeah, it's only a few bucks, so if you've got plenty of dough, you're going, why would I waste my time? Then you do that, and for people that want to save and not waste, then they can go ahead and wash. But yeah, like I said, Repco brand, Repco, but they are actually, I believe they're fuel misers, so if you buy the fuel miser brand, which is a Repco company or whatever, how it works, it's probably the same thing in a different box anyway. This is what it looks like with the new cabin filter. So you got the foam there, it's actually a seal, as opposed to, you know, just sort of something floppy sitting there roundabout kind of thing. And they're wide enough that they pretty well go to the end. And because it's firmer material, the bottom of that, it's kind of pushing against the bottom better. It's never going to be 100% seal, but yeah, and same at that end. It's pushed pretty well right up to the end. There's these little tabs there, you can see I'm just messing with it now. It holds it out a little bit, but at least because it's firmer material, the bottom is against the bottom. Anyway, I like these better. They're a lot more sturdy. They still breathe well, obviously if they didn't, because some people like to bag them out. I'm not saying, like I said, I like there's pros and cons of both, right? I'm just saying this is what I like, and these are more recyclable. Anyway, be very careful. You've got to flex bend these out a little bit not to break the tabs off, but if they're broken off, don't worry, because it's not going anywhere anyway. It's a tight enough fit, you could have all those 4 tabs gone. Nothing's out, it's pushing down this way like that. All the dirt, debris and air is pushing down. It's not going to just jump out because it's tight enough because of this foam. You could pretty well just cut those away. So if you break 1 or 2, don't worry about it. I've seen plenty broken before. Never, I think even my 120 might have 1 or 2 of those broken. So anyway, whatever. Speaking of off-road, I'm not saying that all that dust went into that air filter in one day. It could have been a number of days. Just saying that is what can happen in a day. The closer you sit, the more dust you suck, the quicker it gets dirty. But other things off-road, on the Prados, sometimes they can develop cracks about there, sort of middle of the picture, down towards where that, you know, around the middle of the picture there. Because obviously it's just fairly thin material, and there's sometimes a battery sitting up here somewhere around about, you know, on the other side of that. Maybe that's what this is brackets here to do with. And if it's too heavy and it's not secure and it's banging around and flexing the vehicle, it can create a crack there. So each service, just keep an eye on that. And what I'd suggest is, it's not going to stop till it at least gets to the bend or the fold, if you know what I mean. So the crack might sort of go up here, right? And you could drill it there and try and stop it. It might work, it might not. But generally, once you get to a bend, maybe about there, if you drill a hole in the end of the crack, it'll stop, okay? Now, it's nothing to worry about. You can just do that and that's it. Case closed, don't panic. It's just, you know, check it out, and, you know, that's what you can do. Let's check the other side. Some people will say that's why, you know, you don't want to have a dual battery. I want to put my battery in the back and whatever, but what's the point of all that? Because you've got a battery at this side anyway, up behind here. Stock standard, you have a battery. What are you going to relocate that to the back as well? Then you're just using up all your space in the back of the vehicle that you need for, you know, it's really important space you need if you're traveling, because you need to travel light. But by traveling light, not having a trailer or whatever, you need to fit as much as you can in the vehicle, which means you need every cubic millimetre or at least centimetre of space. So I'd suggest you keep your batteries and everything you can, your compressor under the bonnet to keep the weight at the front of the vehicle, because when you load the vehicle, the weight generally goes, this is the front spring, it doesn't go, the only thing that goes on the front springs is your bull bar, you know, your bash plates, your batteries, your winch, your compressor if you've got it there, and they can take it, no problem at all. But when you load the vehicle to go away, most of your weight's going on the rear axle. Have a look at the vehicle, have a think about that. Anyway, we came here to check for cracks. Look at all that bonus information you get. Sometimes, you know, you'll get the crack about here somewhere, right? And it could happen yet. This one it hasn't, plenty it doesn't, some it does. And like I said, if you let it go, it may just continue up and keep coming back this way, because it, yeah. And of course it'll get worse if you don't do something about it. There is a patch kit you can get to reinforce this area, so you can do that if it cracks, or you can do it as prevention. But I didn't do it as prevention. On our 120 it started cracking here, and drilled the hole at the end, it stopped the crack. Did a little bodgy, I mentioned in other videos, a bit of a bodgy fix up with some Permatex. It's like meant to go like concrete, but I don't know if I drove it too soon without letting it dry long enough or what, but it didn't actually work. And I'm going to try it again, give it another coat, whatever. I'm just doing that to test it out for cheap fixes for people. But in the last year or two, like I said, It hasn't cracked any further because I drilled the hole at the end, so it's not going to cause any further problems anyway. Another little tip while we're at it, see these up here, the guard liner? See they've got these plastic clips in there that are really hard to get out. If you ever try and get those out like to fit a snorkel, you need to replace a lot of them, so buy a heap of spares. But see how they're a bit loose like that? Right? You can put a bolt in them, see? There's a bolt that goes in there and it makes everything tight. And usually that's what you see, the same clips behind here that these bolts, so these are the type of bolts from Toyota, if you want to use the genuine ones, right? But if you put those, see at the front here, sometimes it's guard liner, it's not really that well secured, you know? So you might want to secure it a bit better, and one of the ways to do that is, because if that gets ripped out, coming down, these are the first to go. As you can see, that one probably went missing at some stage, it's been replaced with something. But you put a bolt in the ones, at least at the front, or any that are loose, or bolt in a few of them, and it just tightens this whole thing up a bit, can help prevent some rattles and stuff as well. So we're not going to do an inspection on this vehicle because it gets boring. We've got plenty of inspection videos, check out our playlist, but we're just going to go into a few more unusual things now that we're just mentioning things to do with off-road and touring. KO2s, right? This is a KO2, but let's have a look at the year. Let's be clear here. There it is, right? 3215, so the tyre's 6 years old. Okay, this is the problem why they start. If you look in between the treads, I'll just hold it still if I can, you just start to see the rubber deteriorating, and that's where perhaps these splits are coming from, because there is some splits in between the treads. Just going to spin the tire a little bit and see if we can find some more for consistency. Could be where rocks have hit it. You can see the tire does go off-road. You can see they're a little bit roughed up, the stone marks and all that sort of thing. But as the tires get older, the rubber goes harder, and therefore it's got less flex and it's more prone to damage, right? You can see those tiny little hairlines sort of in the dirty area in between the treads. And then just over here you can see more of those splits type thing. I'm not sure if that's from rocks pushing into them or just the flex, you know what I mean? The flex in between the treads just sort of tearing it open a little bit. But they're 6-year-old tyres, they've got plenty of tread left. But you just need to be aware, that's why they put a use-by date on tyres of 5 years, right? There's some more there. Let's go check a couple more. The other back tyre, some sort of similar marks there. Let's have a bit of a look. You know, you can still see similarities, so no difference. I mean, you know, you get in the Victorian high country and you flex it around, you can see similar sort of marks. So just keep an eye on those as the tyres get older. Just having a quick look at the front one, and it's not as bad. So it's probably, you know, going up those hills, you got a lot more weight on the rear. The rear's putting, oh no, there's a little bit of a crack there. The rear's putting a lot more drive, so there's going to be more flex. There's more torque being put through the rear, so they're for more flex in the rubber. Because I'm not seeing, let's go to the other front one. I've just been giving this one a bit of a spin as well. Doing a visual, I'm not saying there's nothing, but it's a lot better than the rear one. So the rear ones are doing a lot of the work going up those hills. And as those BFG KO2 grippy design treads are wrapping around those rocks and pushing you up the hill and not slipping and wheel spinning like some other types of tyres. Right. Of course, you know, you bend, you flex, there's a tiny little one there. You flex, you force, it's just gonna, once the rubber gets old and more deteriorated, there's another little one there. But there seems to be more in the rear. Anyway guys, that's the video. Like I said, we're not doing inspection underneath, it gets boring. Hopefully that was an air filter video with a bit of bonus info. If you liked it, like, subscribe to the bell, and I'm going. See ya.